Oh boy. Can I be heard? Can I be seen? Hello. Oh, wait. Oh, nope. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. So here's the deal. Here's the deal. OBS has been crashing on me like crazy. Let me move it. Okay, that did not crash. Welcome, boys. Today for me is Thursday, April 17th, 2025. Though I know if you're watching this, you're probably one of my three viewers, and you're watching this from somewhere in the East Coast-ish of Washington, D.C. So it's still probably Wednesday night for you. I am, of course, coming to you with dedication and love from the beautiful country of Fiji. I am in the small town of Nadi, Fiji, and that's where I'm at. That's where I'm going to be doing our thing. Don't know if I'm going to be doing a full 2 hours tonight. I kind of do want to get out and explore a little bit. Maybe when, what is this? Maybe when a couple of you show up, I'll go ahead and, oh my stars and garters. Okay. Oh my God. I have to be super careful because OBS, if I do certain things with OBS, it just crashes on me. So I have to be super, super careful about what I'm doing with it. Now over here, I think, let me check this. I have this on off screen over here. All right, I think that's fine. I'm gonna do pop-out chat right here so it's a little bit easier to look at. Yes. Now my computer, hopefully my computer can handle it. Now I have to remember that I am spoiled by the computer I have at home, which is pretty beefy, right? It has like 192 gigs of RAM, and it's not the fastest of CPUs, but it's a decent CPU. So I have to remember, like, keep that kind of in mind. But yeah, let's get started on our game. So I am working on, how can I get this? Live streaming, messages, studio, this right here. I've been working on an entire like entity kind of personality system where what it is we're going to have, I kind of want to make it so that a big part of the game is being able to give orders to NPCs. Suhas says hi. Hello, Suhas. Welcome to the stream. Thank you. I am going to be personally offended. I'm going to be personally offended if not sure does not show up at this stream. Because I'm doing this in part for him. So Razman's like he's like 50-50 shot of showing up, but not sure. Okay. But I've been working on this kind of entity system. I'm sorry, on this personality system. So I'm not sure what I had done. I kind of started on it this morning, but then I got distracted with something. Okay. So I'm not crazy about the clamping. So trust disposition. Can I give these like helpers? Like, is description a one? Description? Yeah. Okay, so I don't know if these would be the tooltip or where this description actually gets displayed, but we're going to go ahead. So the entity's health point, no. Trust disposition is how trusting this entity is overall, right? So what I'm thinking is I want the commanding of the NPCs to kind of be a full feature part of or like a big part of the game. Suha says, what are we making? We're making a game. We're writing a game. So again, the ability to tell the NPCs like stay, go, attack. I want that to kind of be part of the strategy in order to win the game. You have to use that system actually in order to be able to do anything. I'm trying to think of what I've worked on since we last streamed. I did a few things, but I think it was mostly just kind of walking around stuff. Did I do anything? I was trying to get the air raid system to work. Yeah, you can kind of hear it. So I added air raid. I added an air siren to it. I added bullet sounds to the NPCs when they shoot. So that should be something. But if we start working on this personality system, because I was thinking, you can make certain NPCs that are less trusting than others. You can have some. So with the help of ChatGPT, we came up with trust, disposition, courage, obedience, and rationality. So I guess, rationality would only be applicable to male NPCs. See what I did there? But yeah, we could. But in that kind of sense, you could kind of build personality traits of the NPCs. And also another way that I'm doing this is I haven't figured out how this is going to work yet, but I want to have it so that NPCs can order other NPCs. And from that sense, I think it would be really neat to have some type of like disobedience or some type of like mutiny kind of functionality. I don't know where that's going yet. The idea is evolving and I'm probably making too much of it. I'm probably over engineering it, but how likely the entity is to follow orders. Oh wait, rationale. Oh wait, no. So I want to do that for obedience, and then rationality. Oh, what's a good description for rationality? How likely? No. This is talking about how likely. I don't know that rationality actually makes sense now that I'm thinking about it. We'll comment. Well, let's get rid of that. Let's comment rationality out for now. I'm not sure that makes a bunch of sense. And then, of course, courage is pretty self-explanatory. I don't know why the AI keeps saying how likely the entity is to be aggressive towards others, but no, it's not courage. How I'm just going to say how courageous. Courageous. How courageous. What would be a good... So courage would be... So trust is going to factor into how overall trusting, it's going to be a weight of the trust component in general. If you tell an NPC to do something, there's three potential options for the NPC not doing something, like not following an order. Or when you give it an order, there is the option that it will do it, it'll do what you tell it to do. There is the option that it'll just outright refuse. In which case we're going to have to figure out like what's an alternative action. If you give an NPC, like if you tell it to do something and it's just going to refuse, it's going to have an alternative action. Now the alternative action could be just an idle state, but it could be like if you order it to go attack, but it looks at the health of everybody of the other NPCs on the same team as it, and it's really low health, and you're telling it to go attack, it's going to like say no. So and maybe at that point it's going to go and hide. And then there's the other state of hesitance. Razman is in the house. Do you know about serialized objects? All right. I don't even know if here. Is that what you want, Razman? Is that what you want? Does that make you happy? Does that make you happy? Oh, but I know you're still going to take issue because it's a public member. It's a public member. You're still going to take issue with it. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. So courage, of course. So that was just courage, trust, obedience. All right. Rationality. So the problem I have with rationality as kind of a personality trait here is we're going to have some type of measure of how rational the order you're giving the NPC is, right? Like that's going to have to, like if I, like let's go ahead and start. So right now we literally have 2 orders we can give an NPC. This is a lot slower than I'm used to, but I've got a lot running and there's not a lot of RAM on this computer. Didn't it run? Oh. Oh boy. So we have stay and follow. So how rational would that be? No, that's a serialized field. Serialized objects are different. They are some sort of, oh yeah. I mean, it's probably just, it's basically, well, this is system serializable. I mean, I would imagine a serialized class is literally just a class of all the members inside of it being, where am I going? Oh, with all the members inside of it being serialized. So how would you measure like stay and follow? Like how would I measure the rationale? Like I guess you could have, All right, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, and I'm probably making this a lot more. I'm making it a lot more complicated than it really should be. Like maybe we don't even have rationality. Maybe we don't even have obedience. Maybe we start out with just courage and trust. We start out with those two. Now AI, so that is an innate trait of the NPC itself. And then you're going to have a relational traits. So basically how much I trust another person, how much I love another person, how much I fear another person. So the NPCs, they'll have that state, not with just the player, but with other players as well. I guess also if you're going to do that, so what did I mentioned trust, right? How much they trust the other person, but then you have to have an overall trust factor as well. So if we do, what did AI recommend? I love how the gun sounds are in the background as I'm talking about this. Let's stop that. AI recommended trust, love, resentment, admiration, and intimidation. So I don't know if all of those make sense. Okay, yeah, Razvan. So here, the AI just put serializable up there. Does that make you happy? So I guess we could just do the same thing. I don't need to put the field on it. So that's a serialized class, a serialized object. Anyway, so trust, I think we need. Love. How much? I guess love makes sense, right? Like I've always said that parents love their children more than children love their parents, just because I think that's just kind of how nature works. So because it's kind of like grown in you, or kind of like instilled in you that you want to take care of your offspring. Whereas a child's just like, well, I didn't choose to be here. I'm just here. Like, what WTF? Like, you brought me here, and you're not going to take care of me. Well, you're an ass. So anyway, so what I'm saying is like, if the little green guy we have is the son, his love towards the player, who is his father in the story, the NPC's love towards the player would be less than what the grandfather's love would be towards the player, because the grandfather would love him because it's his son. You see what I mean? So these are, what did the AI name that? Relationship traits. I guess that's fine. I guess we can stick with that. I don't think we're going to use all of these. So let's go ahead and go here. Oops. And this is under common. Oh, I don't know what it is, but when I hear my fan just running and running and running and running, I freak out. Oh, I don't freak out, but I don't like it. I can hear the fan just like, it's like a jet engine. All right, like I said, I don't think I'm going to be doing a full 2 hours tonight, because I am in Fiji, and like instead of like streaming, I probably should get out and explore. It has been, oh my God. I got here on Tuesday, early Tuesday morning, and I go to this Airbnb. And this really nice woman, she lets me in, she shows me around, and I'm like, and then she kind of leaves. This Airbnb was so dirty. It had mold. It had bugs. Like, it had lots of little tiny bugs, like running around on the floor, running around on the table, on the counter, on the couch. And I'm just thinking, like, if they're on the counter and the floor and the table and the couch, they're probably most likely in the bed as well. And then there was mold on the rim around the sink of the kitchen, and then there was mold on the floor in the shower. And I'm like, what in the hell? And then so when I get to an Airbnb, I will usually kind of like, I'll rearrange things a little bit. Generally not too drastically, but I might move a chair or something like that to just try and make it a little more comfortable for myself. And so she had a couch and then 2 chairs on either end. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to turn one of the chairs to kind of make it like an ottoman, right? I have an ottoman at home. I love my ottoman. So I kind of want to, oh, there's an ottoman here. I didn't even notice that. So I turned the chair to kind of make it as an ottoman. And underneath of the chair, there was just like, there were pieces of trash, there was dirt, and there was, I don't even know what. And then I'm just like, what is this place? Like, what is, like, and so the beds were terribly uncomfortable. The beds were like a little mattress about this thick sitting on top of a piece of wood. Terribly uncomfortable. The only saving grace about the apartment was that the air conditioners worked very well, which is important because we're in Fiji in a tropical climate and I get hot very easily. So the air conditioner worked well. So that was one plus. But oh my, so I'm exhausted because I had just traveled from Washington, D.C. to Fiji. That was a 6-hour flight from Washington, D.C. to California, then about a 5-hour layover in California, and then about an 11-hour flight to Fiji. And I slept a little bit on the plane, but not as much as I wanted to. And so, but I got to Fiji. I arrived at like 6 a.m. and I had already arranged with the owner that I would check in at 6 a.m. And I'm like, okay, I cannot go to sleep. I cannot go to sleep. I cannot go to sleep. And this was Tuesday and I'm just exhausted. Finally, and like, I'm already just like, this place is disgusting. I'm like, it just felt gross. And so I finally lay down at 9 o'clock and fell asleep. And I woke up at 1 o'clock and I could not get back to sleep. The bed was uncomfortable. It felt dirty. It felt like, oh my God, I just tossed and turned and I literally did not get back to sleep. It was horrible. And so yesterday, oh my God, I'm like, I got to get out of this Airbnb. And so I start looking, and of course, this is all last minute. And I'm looking for something nice. I'm like, you know what? Because I'm a little bit older probably than you, Razman, and anybody else listening. Just statistically speaking, I'm probably a little bit older. Let me give you a little old guy wisdom here. One thing I have learned about life that is true 98% of the time, it is true, that you get what you pay for. And so I'm like looking for an Airbnb and I'm like, I don't give a fuck how much it costs. I don't care. And then I'm like looking for something with a view and looking for something. I'm like, oh, I want the best. And the place I'm at now, so I contact the woman who owns the place I'm in now. I contact her at like 4 a.m. I wasn't expecting her to answer, but I wrote her at 4 a.m. like, hi, I just arrived. I hate my Airbnb. Can I come look at your Airbnb to make sure I want to change? And I came here and like when I saw the price, I'm like thinking of the price. I'm like, okay, that price it's expensive, but I can do it, right? It's fine. So I come here and I look at it and I'm like, this is a beautiful place. It's like so much better than the place I had. So I'm like, yes, let's do it. And like the woman was like, so Razman says I am 42 and Yasmin Ripaz says I'm 33. Look at you, Razman, getting the younger girl. Yeah. No, but yeah, 42 and 33. Yeah. That's a good spread. I forgot where I was at now. Oh, so I come here and I look at this place and I'm in love with it. And then the woman, she's like, here are the keys. Just check in when you want. Mind you, I hadn't even booked it on Airbnb yet. And she's like, just, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go back to my other Airbnb and I'm going to, get on the computer and book it and everything. I go back to book it and I realize that the price where I had in my mind, where I was thinking, okay, that's expensive, but it's not crazy. That's fine. I can work with it. That price was for like 6 days and I need it for 12. And I'm like, oh my God, I was so angry. And I was like, and at that point, but I was like, I don't care how much it fucking costs. I don't care if I have to max out my credit cards. Fucking do it. So I did. And so now I'm fighting with Airbnb because so I asked the woman at the other place, like, are you going to refund? She would only refund me money for like a few days. And so like I'm fighting with Airbnb and I'm like, you want me to pay for a place that had bugs, mold, dirt, like, and like I sent them video of this. Like, it's not like they think I'm making it up. I sent them video and they even said like, yes, well, that is a valid concern you have or some shit like that. And they're like, well, I'm like, seriously? Like, you're not just going to refund? Like, how can you even allow this Airbnb on Airbnb? Like, it shouldn't even be on Airbnb in that condition. Like, honestly, it should not be. And oh my God. So, and then yesterday, and then We'll get back to the game in a minute. Just calm down. But so I come back here, and I guess what happened was when I left this place, because it was me and the owner originally. We were walking around, and the owner, I guess she left after me, and she turned off all the air conditioners. So mind you, I come back with like two bags and a backpack, and I'm like, and you know, it's 100,000 degrees outside, and it's 500,000% humidity, and so I get back in the apartment, and it's just so hot in here, so hot. And mind you, this is a big room, and there's a mini duct here and there's a mini duct here. And so I'm like, okay, Addie, okay, it's not going to be that bad because I'll turn that mini duct on, and I turn it on, and I'm like, and then I'll turn this one on too, and I'll just blast it, and it'll be cold in here in no time. This mini duct didn't work. I was about ready to lose my mind. I literally was. And so I called my wife crying. And I'm just like, I'm gonna come home. I wanna come home. And my wife's like, calm down. Go take a shower. Stop being a baby. And she's just like, I don't call my wife for the loving, like, oh, honey, it's going to be, I don't, like, if I want that, I'll call my mom. But I call my wife to kind of like slap me in the face and be like, shut up, be a man, go take a shower and calm down. And that's what she did, and that's honestly what I needed. That's one of the reasons I stopped using Airbnb. I went back to hotels. See, I prefer, for me, it depends on how long I'm staying. If it's more than 2 or 3 nights, let's put it that way. If it's only 3 nights, let's say 3 nights max, I'll stay at a hotel. I don't mind a hotel. But if it's going to be like 2 weeks, no, I need room. I need to spread out. And also, like, if it's going to be 2 weeks, I need a room where I sleep and I need a room where I work, right? Like, I need that mental separation. So, but I mean, like yesterday when I was like looking at places, I'm like, there's like a Hilton resort down the road that's like beachfront. I'm like, I don't care how much it costs. I would have cared about that because I'm looking at the Hilton Beach Resort, beachfront. I'm looking like 1-bedroom suite, and it's quoting me a price of like 3,000 Fijian dollars, and the exchange rate is right around 50, right? 50%. So I'm thinking in my mind, like $1,500, like. Shit, let me. But it was booked, and I'm like, okay. So I'm like playing around with dates. Like, okay, well maybe I can just stay there for like 10 days, and then the other 3 days I can stay somewhere else. Like I'm starting to think about these things, and I'm like, God damn, that's really cheap. No, it was 3,000 Fijian dollars a night. So that would have been, yeah. I mean, like I dropped a bit of coin on this place. But it wasn't in the tens of thousands of dollars, and I wasn't about to do that. Anyway, let's get back to this. Okay, so we had the entity traits. So what I'm doing is on the left-hand side, these are the things that an NPC will feel towards another entity. But then the question I want to ask is, does each one have a corresponding personality trait? Like, okay, like let's take love. So we're a measure of how much entity A loves entity B. But does it make sense to have a overall love factor of like how loving an entity is? One thing I don't like about this place, one thing I don't like about this Airbnb is it's on the first floor. I didn't realize that. I guess I did. I mean, I did realize it when I came to look at it, but at that point I was in such a vulnerable state. I just wanted to get out of the other place. The pool is right there. Are the people in the pool? There's nobody in the pool. But anyway, okay. So does it make sense to have like how loving of a person? I think it does. How much this entity? No. Okay. So let's do this. How loving this entity is overall, and then I want to call it, I'm going to call it loving you. All right, trusting. For some reason, Razman, I thought you were like in your 30s. All right. No, 42. 42 is a good age. I think if I could go back to any age, and I think the most common answer is 36, I think. And I think that's probably about right. Like if I could go back to any age, I would probably say like 38. My late 30s and early 40s, I really enjoyed that time because that time you still have youthful health, like mostly youthful health. Like your body is still really in like that youthful stage of life. But then you have like the status and the money, if you've done things right, you have like the status and the money of somebody who is later in life. So you have kind of the best of both worlds. But then at around about 45, that's when you really start to get changes in your body, at least as a man. Women, who knows? I don't think anybody understands how women work. But at least as a man, I think at around 45 is kind of like when you start to have like, because like when you're in your 30s, you always hear about older people that are like, oh yeah, everything hurts when you get older. And like, you're like, well, I'm 38. Nothing hurts now. Maybe I'm just going to escape this. Ha! No. Just wait till you're 45. Then everything will eventually start to hurt. That does happen. Okay. It just might hit, some people it might hit them at 35. Others it might hit them at 50, if you're lucky. For me, that started around 44, 45, mid 40s. That's when it started. But man, late 30s, early 40s, that was a good time. I like that. Actually right around 40 was the sweet spot. Right around 40 was the sweet spot. 40 was good. 50 so far, it's a little rough. All right, but what is wrong with me? I'm sitting in Fiji. I'm literally sitting at like an overpriced Airbnb in Fiji, and I'm sitting here like, oh, well, life is rough. Jesus Christ, I am so spoiled. Okay, resentment. I don't know that resentment really... So here's one thing that I like in programming that I try to instill in younger developers. So let me get a sheet. Let's say I have a class. I'm just going to call it stuff. Right? And let's say I'm just going to name a few variables. Bool is ready. All right. And then maybe we have another bool. I'm just making things up. I'm trying to think of one to illustrate what I want to illustrate. This is is stopped. Kind of illustrates it. Another one is... trying to think of one that I see often. Is disabled. Okay. I think I might have talked about this on stream before, but so this I would reject. Well, first of all, I would reject it because it's spelled poorly. Okay. This I would reject. I would reject this. Oh wait, everyone tells me I look way younger, especially to the fact that I don't have a single gray hair. I get that a lot too. Like I get that I look at myself and I'm like, yeah, maybe. Like I don't know. I think I am starting to look older, but I still don't. I don't think I look 50. Maybe I do when I'm tired. Okay, but about this, I'm pretty sure I have talked about this before. The reason I would reject this is because this is the way things are named. There is this back and forth of logic in what you have to think about. Is ready? Yes. If you're not ready, you're not ready. Perfect. Is stopped? Okay. I guess that's okay. Is stopped? I guess. Is disabled? That's one I see a lot, and I hate that one. I hate that. Or disabled. Like, no. Change it. And Razman, I know what you would. I know you know what I'm going to say. Is enabled. Keep things like everything. Is stopped is kind of questionable. I would kind of prefer is going or is moving over is stopped, because stop seems like a negative, and you want your variables to be named positively. They're doing like they're doing action as opposed to naming your variables for inaction, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what I feel with resentment. I kind of feel like, what's the opposite of resentment? If I resent somebody, I almost feel like trust is the opposite. No, distrust. What is the opposite of resentment? If I resent you, then what does it mean to resent somebody? It means like I'm angry at that person because they hurt me or something. Let's ask the wise internet. Opposite of resentment. Do you prefer is disabled for is mentally challenged? And honestly, like in a serious question, I would actually prefer is mentally challenged. I would. Like, because again, especially in a I can see that. Like if you have an NPC and maybe you would have, I don't know why, but maybe you have a concept of having NPCs that are mentally challenged in your game, is disabled is going to make me think the NPC is actually not work, like not, you know what, is not functioning, right? Whereas I is mentally challenged. Okay, opposite of resentment. Oh, wait, what? What's the opposite? I'm going to have to ask AI. Homonyms, right? Isn't that what an opposite is? Oh, my stars and garters. Okay, antonyms. Satisfaction, happiness, contentment. How content I am with a person? Pleasure, delightful, pacification, mollification, appeasement. I don't like resentment. I'm not a big fan of having that in this factor. I'm not a fan of that factoring in here. Admiration, no. Intimidation, I think we need some concept of that. Almost like, and I think that almost goes along with courage, right? Because if you're very courageous, you're not going to be intimidated by a person. So I feel like courage is kind of the equivalent on the intimidation. Like if I'm intimidated by somebody, I'm scared of them. But if I'm not intimidated, then I trust them or are comfortable. Comfort? Does that make sense? Comfort? I need a better word than comfort. Come on, Razman. Like, what would you say in, like, so I'm not even sure how to say resentment in Spanish. Like, if I resent somebody in Spanish. No, I'm honestly not sure. I know comfort is comodo. Uncomfortable, incomodo. Would it be resentamiento? Resentamienta? Anyway. So, how much I trust this person, how much I love this person, because maybe I don't trust them at all, but I love them a lot. So maybe I would still do something for them. Like that's another thing I'm thinking of. Like if I don't trust them and I love them, then I would still listen to them probably, because I love them and I want to make them happy. If I don't love them at all, but I trust them with my life, then in Mexican Spanish, me tiene hasta al huevo. That can't be true. El huevo? No, that can't be true. Me tiene, it has me until the egg. Like that, I know that's a literal translation of what a me tiene hasta el huevo. That's literally resentamiento. I was right. Thank you, Yasmari. Whoa. Thank you, Yasmin. I was right. Resentamiento. I knew I was right. I mean, I was close. Yo resiento. Okay. Now I really want to know what me tiene hasta el huevo. Because I know normally, this is something I found interesting. So in English, you really won't call male testicles, you won't call them eggs, right? But in Spanish, obviously you call them huevos. But in Thai, you also call them kai or gai, which also means egg. But they also mean balls. Wait, why am I looking over here? I gotta look over here. So, which also means balls. And also, In Setswana, they use the word egg for balls as well, which I thought was interesting. Don't listen to Razman. No, I don't. I know he's steering me. I know he's steering me in a bad direction. Me tiene hasta el huevo. Ah, damn it, I can't type. In inglés. It has me fed up. Okay. It's really getting on my nerves. Me tiene hasta el huevo. How did... The literal translation... Wait, huevo is egg, right? Like, the literal translation is, it has me until the egg. Does huevo maybe mean something else? Is there another meaning for huevo? Huevo. Oh. In inglés. Egg. Ball. Oh wait, no. And it's just going to tell me egg, a ball, arm and a leg. Bomb. Okay. Anyway. All right. So, comfort. How comfortable I am, or how content? Huevo is balls. Yeah, I know. But it's also egg. Right? Huevos. No, actually, but that's interesting. I didn't realize that huevo could also mean balls. Well, okay. I didn't know that. I knew that huevo means like a man's balls, but I didn't know that huevo can also mean like a soccer ball. Can it? Like, can you use the word huevo to mean like a soccer ball or a golf ball or a baseball? All right, I'm getting completely off base here. Okay, so resentment, admiration, comfort. I made up the comfort one. Okay, let's ask AI. Let me go down here. For the, what was it? It was relationship traits. Relationship traits. I'm good with love and trust. What did he call it? Trust toward. But the others don't make too much sense. Recommend a few more, and I'm going to pick two that make sense to me. I love these Apple keyboards. I do. I love these Apple keyboards. I can type so fast on them. But I have tried using the Apple keyboard on a PC. Completely different experience. Does not work at all. I mean, it works. It literally works, but it's like, I don't like it. Fear of is not a bad one. Emotional. T is afraid of P. Will obey out of fear or freeze under pressure. Jealousy, guilt, respect. Shared history is a good one. Obligation, protectiveness, ideological alignment, resentment, dependency. Dependency is a good one. How dependent, like the son's going to be very dependent on the father. The grandfather might be somewhat dependent on the father. The father himself is not going to be dependent on either of them necessarily. Respect. Why does it put a check mark near these? Are those ones it really likes? Two good combos with what you already have. Here are strong compliments. Love, gratitude, fear of. I do kind of like fear of as well. Let's check. Because fear, actually, that's really good. Fear of is good because fear of, so remember how I was like trying to correlate the things on the left with the things on the right? Because you have the trust toward, but then you have also how overall trusting the entity is. So, and then for love, you have the same thing with loving. So fear of is kind of like the courage part, right? So this would be, and this is another thing. I like the variable naming of fear of, right? Because if you named it fear, I don't know, you kind of got to think about it and it could be misinterpreted. You kind of have to know. You're talking about, I don't know. I like fear of. I like it that it's explicit. And then gratitude. I'm not big on gratitude. I didn't mean it like that. Obligation, respect. I'm also approaching a sad part of my trip. So every trip I will pack at least some Diet Mountain Dews. And this trip I was able to pack 12. I brought a lot. And I've got this one and I've got 2 more in the fridge. That's it. After that, no more. But it's not too bad because a lot of trips, like I'll go on a trip and I'll drink the last Diet Mountain Dew and it'll be like the last Diet Mountain Dew for like 2 months. This, I'm going to be home in like 2 weeks. So it's not a big deal. Actually, I think 2 weeks from today, exactly. 2 weeks from today, I get home. 2 weeks from my today. I believe for Razman, you're in Toronto. I believe you are still on Wednesday. Whereas me, it is almost noon on Thursday here. And also another embarrassing thing. This is really embarrassing. I've eaten McDonald's twice. I just got here on Tuesday. It's Thursday, and I've eaten McDonald's twice. I ate it the first day I got here because I was like, I was all sweaty and gross and tired, and then just like I was disappointed in my Airbnb, and I was hungry, and I needed to eat. So I was like, I did a McDonald's video for my travel channel. Addie Goes Places. Check out new videos every other week. So I did some content for that channel, and then and then this morning I didn't have any food in the house, or I did, but I didn't feel like cooking. I was like, well, I got to go back to the old apartment, and I got to go to the grocery store, so I'll just go to McDonald's for breakfast. Okay, so I'm going to stick with fear of. Okay, I'm going to tell the AI. I'm going to stick. So I got 3 on the left, 3 on the right. I feel like we need 1 more. And am I just saying that because 3 is an odd number and like I feel like I need 1 more? Let me ask the AI. Okay. So I find. Oh my God, you're the stereotype of a gringo eating McDonald's in other countries. Dude, check out my YouTube channel, Addie Goes Places. I literally have a playlist of all my reviews of McDonald's in different countries. Like, it's like, yeah. I love it. I love McDonald's. Yes. And if you didn't notice, I am a gringo, okay? If you didn't notice. Technically, I have Bolivian citizenship, so technically, I can get out of that and be like, oh, no, I'm not really a gringo, I'm Bolivian. Soy boliviano. We all look like this. Okay. In the, what was it called? Entity traits, I have trusting, loving, I'm going to capitalize it, and courage, which I think map well to the relationship trait. Well, they don't need to map. All right, I need to also get out of that. Like maybe that's what I'm getting stuck on, trying to map them. Gratitude. I don't know that gratitude is a good one either. Jealousy. Guilt, respect. I don't know. Maybe the thing to do here is just to stick with these 3, and actually that's probably a good decision because we can add to it later. I think often with computer programming, it's easier to design stuff knowing you're going to add to it later than trying to add everything to it up front, because there's a lot of unknowns. When you start out writing, there's lots of unknowns. So if you're working with a smaller set of things on this unknown journey, you're less prone to error. And then as long as you keep in mind, well, might add to this list, I got to remember that, you should be okay. So I think that's what we'll do. What happened to Visual Studio Code? Did Did I quit out of it? What happened? That's weird. I must have accidentally quit. I didn't even realize it. Okay. So this emotional bias does not make any sense because we're going to have trust toward, love, and fear of. So we'll just get rid of that for now. That was something the AI added. So then we have this entire, so there's an entire decision matrix, or not a decision matrix really. It's like a decision, what did the AI call it? The AI is really good at naming stuff. Decision profile. So let's see what it came up with. So we have the decision result where you can obey, refuse, hesitate. I like this design because you can add stuff to it later. If obey, refuse, hesitate, deceive, like maybe the NPC will tell you that it is going to follow your order, but it really doesn't. Not saying we're going to do that right off the bat. Let's see, decision profile, evaluate, safety. So safety and utility of the command, entity traits, and then relationship traits. So the way I want to do this is, so in the base NPC class, and so this is what I think is neat. What we'll do is, so we'll just have a variable here. Now I'm wondering if I put a public entity traits object or variable right here, will it show up in the inspector with all those variable traits from? Is that what the whole I'm imagining that is what the purpose of the serializable class is. So what I mean is I can just do this, entity traits, right? Just like that. And to make Razman happy, I will make it I'll use private public and then serialized field. So let's see if that in fact is what it's going to do. So this is base NPC. So let's look at Sun. So Sun right away should have those traits. And he does. Oh, and it's a nice little, okay, all right. Okay. All right, so now, okay, for the relationship traits. Okay, I'm adding entity traits to my base NPC class, and I want to add relationship traits as a map of other objects to the relevant relationship traits between the entity and that other object. What would be a good key for that map? I'm guessing it's game object, but this is the thing that kind of worries me. Like, I am very familiar with C++ and how, if you have a map, the types of things you should use as a key, the types of things you shouldn't use as a key, and it all is going to depend on your compare operator. And then in some cases you can give it a custom compare operator for if you need to use something as a key, but it doesn't have a very good compare operator, you can customize it to your own need. I'm very familiar with that kind of thinking in C++. With C#, I'm not. And I'm also not entirely comfortable relying on AI. So that's that. Yeah. So this is saying, okay, great. You're about to wire up something really powerful, per target emotional memory. The key you choose for that dictionary should be unique per entity, stable at runtime, and efficient for lookups. See, it's that third one. That third one is what I'm nervous about. So this is saying game object. Game object is unique per instance, tied to scene objects, easy to get from collider transform. Okay. So I guess that makes sense. So this is saying private dictionary. Is it not like dictionary? Don't I have to include system collections or something? Yeah. Dictionary game object. Okay, relationships. I've found that when you ask the AI for more elaborate code, it tends to use Unity tools more effectively. Okay. Maybe because there is less trash code out there. Maybe. Well, I don't know. No, I'm trying to think about, like, is there of the Unity code that is open source, to what extent is it trash? Because I would say on GitHub, if remove duplicate code, like remove forks and remove projects that are like 99.99% the same code, with what you're left, I would say probably 94. I would say like 94% of the code on GitHub is trash. I would say that. And I would say that it probably is also the case for Unity. But I don't know. But I really don't know. The thing is like, think about every library that you have used in from GitHub. Every open source library you've used. Okay. How many other libraries were there? How many other libraries were there that you didn't even see? Like, because they were like on page 3 of the GitHub results or on the Google results. And so I think that's kind of like the thing, because if you have a lot, like if you have like I don't know, a dictionary library for whatever, the popular ones, they're going to be good code. It's kind of like they're going to be well written. They're going to work effectively, and it's going to be. And the reason that they do work effectively is because they're well written. So that's going to be the popular stuff, and then the other unpopular stuff, maybe you're going to have some gems in there, but I think most of it's going to be trash. And I've also been curious, is AI just indiscriminately training off of all data? Like, is all code treated the same in its training process? Or do you have like certain repositories from like, like I think a good example would be like Microsoft. They have an entire open source, they have a lot of open source stuff. Like all of .NET is open source. And so would the AI give more weight to training off of Microsoft code as opposed to Bob1264 code? And who knows, maybe Bob1264 is an amazing programmer, but I'm just curious to know, does AI treat all training code equally? When you ask for player movement, is still making you use keyboard input instead of the input system. Oh, I see so you're talking about like in my code, I'm looking for, I don't know if you're talking about my code or AI, but I'm pretty sure I am doing it. But so you're talking about like pressing E as opposed like, okay, a better example is pressing space to jump, and I actually have in my code something like input.key.space, SPACE, as opposed to input.jump button or whatever it is. I think that's what you might be talking about. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to get some water. I'll be right back. Oh gosh. Oh, so old. So old. All right. I got some water, but I also got some peanut butter cookies. Went to a grocery store today. Went to a grocery store on Tuesday, but it was a little one in the neighborhood of the old Airbnb. And then there's a bigger one here in this neighborhood. And it had a lot more options. Actually, I had lunch meat. Yes, AI in general. Yes, I'm talking about that. Yeah, yeah. I've noticed that too. That because I think I have I make a reference. I think, but I think it might depend because I'm pretty sure I have. Let's look. Jump. Oh no. Oh yes. Input get button down jump. So let me get rid of this debug log. Actually, there's more code here. I'm pretty sure that AI generated that dot get button down jump though, at least for me. So what I can do here, I do think I need a public. It wouldn't make sense to serialize this. Maybe. So it does and it doesn't. It does. It makes sense to have some pre-established relationships, but it also makes sense to have relationships added to it during the game. And so one of the, because I've been thinking about this whole concept of personality. Oh, another trait I was thinking of was empathy. Now here's an idea. You could have an NPC if it has a high level of empathy. Maybe you can somehow, I don't know, maybe you somehow can ask the NPC, please let my family go, please let us go or something. And maybe the NPC will, right? So that's kind of what but that would be one of those things where, yeah. I don't know how I got onto that. But what I'm getting at also is that you can't predefine every relationship in the game. So how do I want to do this? I think I'm going to do that. Somebody upstairs. There was a family upstairs last night, and I was I was getting ready to cry again because I was like, oh my God, they're so loud. Luckily, they checked out this morning. They checked out 5:30. I would have been pissed if I hadn't already been up. I went to bed. I got in bed at 9 o'clock. I was snoring by 9:05, and I was so tired. And then I woke up. I woke up at once around 2, I woke up again around 4, and then I woke up again at 5:30, and that's when I was like, I'm just gonna get out of bed. And no more than 5 minutes after I got out of bed, I hear them going to the bathroom every 30 seconds, and I hear suitcases rolling back and forth, and there's a lot going on. But they left, thank God. And then I saw the owner, and I was like, oh, do you own the unit upstairs? And she's like, yes. And I'm like, do you think maybe I can move upstairs? So let's actually see if she wrote me back. I'm going to do that off screen. Let's go to Airbnb. Oh my God, I love these Apple keyboards. They're such good keyboards. They take a little getting used to, when you first get one, but they're so good. I would imagine that the unit upstairs is probably more expensive, so they're probably not just going to give it to me. Anyway. But then, do I really want to move yet again? Kinda. I want more cookies. I'll be right back. All right, boys. I think I'm probably going to wrap it up. I'm going to work on this some more. Because the trap I don't want to get into is having all these half-formed ideas, right? Where I get excited about an idea and then I go down the road of about 60% of implementing it, and then I just go into another great idea. I not only do that with ideas as ideas, I also do it with projects as a whole. So So the first time you ask AI how to make a character jump, it gives you public members instead of serialized field in the new input system. So let's try something. Let's make this, actually we can do this. We can do this really quickly. Well, maybe not, but let's see. The sun Okay. The sun should have a pre-established relationship okay, not that. The sun should, what I want to do is I want to have the son have a pre-established relationship with the player, i.e. its father, and I want to make the trust and love and courage so low that the son actually rejects the order. Like you say follow and the son's like, no, no. Okay, so what we need to do, it's been a long time since I've worked with, okay, so, wait, didn't we already do this in base NPC? That's what this is, right? That new. Shouldn't I be able to do, let me see. Add. All right, AI can help me out here. So let me see. Player, no. var player object equals, okay, I guess we can do that. Game object dot find game object with tag. Okay, we're only doing it once, so it's good. So here, Rosman says, instead of serialized field with the new input, oh, I already read that. All right, so what we're doing here is we're adding the pre-established relationship of the green guy, who's the son, the green guy with the player, who's the father. Trust toward, let's just start with a baseline, right? Let's just start with 0.99, because I would say that younger children tend to love their parents more probably than older children, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if it's that they love you more, or I don't know if it's that young children love their parents more than older children, or if the love just changes. You see, that's what we talk about on this stream. We talk about philosophical things. We don't just talk about game programming. We also talk about, do younger children love their parents more than older children do? Or does the love just evolve as the personality of the child itself evolves? That's also an option. All right. Fear of. I just said 0.99. No. Okay. And then, of course, the sun itself will have, we can define it in Unity here. The sun is a kid. Children are stupid, so they tend to be very trusting because they don't know any better. Loving, probably very loving as well. Courage, probably not a lot. All right, let's actually put this to use, though. Okay, let me... Wrap access and helper methods to avoid key errors. Oh. All right, we'll worry about that later. Okay. Here is my entity traits. I know that's poor English, but it is what it is. You're going to have to live with it. English is my first language after all. Okay, and my relationship traits. We'll put that over here. Generate a new decision profile.cs file. I really do want to go out and explore, but the thing is, it's raining. Another thing that I've been, so they drive on the left-hand side of the road, and of course, they drive on the left-hand side of the road, and the driver's seat is on the right-hand side of the car, where as opposed to, normal places where they drive on the right-hand side of the road and the driver's seat is on the left-hand side of the car. So it's not that difficult, but you can't be distracted, right? You have to be thinking to yourself constantly, stay on the left-hand side, stay on the left-hand side. Or as my wife told me, she was like, just keep the center, just try to stay as close to the center. Try to keep yourself as close to the center as possible. And so I haven't had too many issues with driving on the other side of the road. However, if I my default action is still to go to the right side of the road. And also, I really hate making right-hand turns. I hate making it because right-hand turns are left-hand turns. And so when you're making a left-hand turn, you're looking to the right, see if there's any, you're looking left, you're looking, like you have an established pattern of how you're going to do this. Like, okay, there's nobody, am I free over here? Whereas, if I'm going like this, my default might be like, okay, but now I have to, it's just different. It's difficult. I don't like right-hand turns here. And so I'm like, okay, well, it's raining. Do I really want to go out while it's raining? I don't know if I do. AI data centers consume water. A kitty dies every time you use AI. AI data centers consume water, taking away water consumption from kittens. I mean, you make a valid point. Okay. Let me see. So we have this decision profile file. Decision profile file. Let's go ahead and create that. We'll put it in common. Oh God, why did AI comment it like a crack addict? What the hell? Okay, so this is where, in order to do this, we have to define a safety, utility, traits, relationship. So we have the traits, we have the relationship, and I think for now, so I think also like safety commands are going to, well, the commands in general, the safety and the utility of commands are going to evolve over time, and that's going to be really tricky. Like, how do you, other than manually keeping track of things, how do you measure the utility of a command? Like, yeah, no, like, or even safety. Safety might be a little easier. You could do it by something like, if it's a follow command, the safety could be dictated by, no, actually, I don't know. I was going to say it could be detected by the vector at which the player is going to go, but you don't know where the player is going to go because you got to turn to look at the NPC in order to give it the follow command, and you, as soon as it gets the follow command, you have to turn right around. Now, you could delay the decision for a split second. All right, see, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, one step at a time, Addie. One step at a time. One step at a time. I think for now we'll just kind of, with safety and utility, we can just kind of make them up right now. I want to look at this code to see what it's doing. So it is taking adjust safety, less courage equals more penalty for danger. It's going to lerp it. I'm not sure what that's doing. Total trust. See, I've also noticed that the math is not very good. Because I wanted it, well, I guess it doesn't matter. Because I was going to say I wanted it to return a number between 0 and 1. Instead, it's going to return well, I guess it does have this threshold. Weighted sum of all factors. Sum, adjusted safety, utility, total trust, traits.loving times relationship.love, minus relationship fear. Interesting. Okay. So let's make sure Unity sees all of this okay. All right. Oh boy, what is this? Find game object tag is not allowed to be called from monobehavior constructor or instance. Okay. I think you can do it from, or start. Okay, we can do it from start. I think that's fine. I like that. I like that Unity gave me an error for that. Oh, yeah, I like that. I remember, so when I worked in C#, I remember really liking the reflection of it. I remember we had to, so this was a long time ago. This was 2007-ish. And I worked at America Online. And what we did, I worked on a team. I think I talked about this already, but we basically had AOL at the time. They had data centers all over the world, like literally like one in Singapore. I think they had one here in Fiji, and then, Berlin, Washington, D.C., Sao Paulo, like literally all over the world. And what our project did is it basically measured the performance of different data centers. And so you would go to a data center, and then you had a script running in a data center, and it would make queries out to AOL assets like AOL.com or whatever, and then it would measure how long it took each one to load, and then it could detect problems like, oh, the image server in Fiji is not running well, or the ad server in Berlin is down, or things like that. But I remember at some point what we had to do, and I don't remember why, and I think I pissed off my coworker with this, but we had to, there was some need for somebody, I don't even remember who. There was need for somebody to have to script some actions, or basically maybe script some loading behavior. I don't remember what it was, but they basically had to script some sorts of actions. And so we needed to add scripting support to what we wanted to do, to our project. And it was in C#. Well, it was actually, parts of it were in Perl, and then other parts were in C#. And I remember my coworker, he wanted to write our own scripting language. And I get it. Like, writing your own scripting language is cool. It's fun. I get it. From a programmer standpoint, I totally understood why he wanted to do it. But I was like, well, why would we do that? I said, C# already has the ability to use C# as a scripting language. You can literally just kind of invoke a text file from C# that is other C# code. And I was like, that's all we need to do. That saves a ton of work. We don't have to write, because a scripting language needs, like, how do you declare variables? How do you write an if statement? How do you write functions? Like, a scripting language needs those things. And so I was like, why do we have to reinvent the wheel? Again, I get it. It sounds fun. I get it. But I was like, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. Like, no, let's just use reflection and use the reflection that's built into C# with the pragmatic compiler and just do that. It's easy. So anyway, all right. It's still raining. Okay, so what I need to do now is how am I going to do this? Command menu.cs. So this is where I'm actually current NPC set idle state. So this is where I get the NPC. This is where I load up the menu. So this is where the decision is actually being made. This is actually a lot more complicated than I thought. The reasons it's a lot more complicated is what's going to happen is if I put some kind of if statement here, right? Like let's think about a naive approach first. If I put an if statement right here, and it's like if the decision profile says yes, then change the state. If the decision profile says no, then don't do anything. I think the problem there is that things are happening instantaneously. And you would want some type of feedback to the player. So let's say that the NPC decide that it's not going to do it. So maybe you have to set it to a state of the NPC maybe just shaking back and forth as if to say no. And then it's going to do that state, and then once that state ends, it's going to return to its previous state. So this is actually a little more involved. And I think that our state machine, I think I did add ability for a next state. Let me look. Pretty sure I did. No, that's not good. Okay, it's not there. Wait a minute. Wait. NPC state. It is NPC. Oh, that's stats. No, I need state. Oh, so I do have a next state. But next state's never used. At least I don't think it is. Oh my God, that's quite a name. Takatuo Yugiri. That sounds like a legitimate Japanese name. I love it. Takatuo Yugiri. We should rewrite C# and Rust. At work, I started looking at Rust, then I started looking at ways to, because the project I work on in my day job, it's very modular. And I was like, we completely could start writing modules in Rust. And so I started looking at like how to write them, how to have like a Rust module be compiled into a C++ program. And I didn't try it, but from like the documentation I saw, I was like, this isn't terrible. And I was really thinking of like, I don't know how I would sell it. I could dictate it at work, but it probably wouldn't go over too well. Where it's just like, nope, all new code is Rust. All new code, Rust. Anyway, so we're not actually using the next state anywhere. Let me look at this. Next state. Yeah. So I think. Wait a minute. Nope. That's just constructor BS. Your stream is lagging. Ugh, not a lot I can do about that. Sorry. Yeah, not a lot I can do, unfortunately. I'm in Fiji after all. I'm in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and it's still raining. I want to get out of here. The day is wasting away. It's almost 12:30. Although I think it means it's 8:30 back home. I think maybe we just go ahead and we start with just a very simple, let's just start with debug logs. Honestly, let's just start with a debug log. we're going to have to work on that because we're going to have to. But it's nice that we have this next state. We just have to hook it up. So in order to do that, a state has to have a concept of an ending. I guess you could do that. That's not a big. Well, we're not going to do it now. I'm not going to do it now. Let me go back to command menu, and we just simply want to. Okay, let's start with the follow command. How is, I don't even know what the logic is. Takatori Yogiri. Takatua. Where did the window go? I lost the window. Takatua. There it is lagging because his bad Airbnb connection. Yeah, it's not a great, I mean, actually it's fine. Well, for me it's fine. I didn't realize it was lagging for you guys. Sorry about that. Not a lot I can do. Oh my God, come back over here. All right. Okay, so it would simply be if decision profile. Oh, did you see? Oh, look at that. Look at that, Razman. Look at that. Decision profile dot instance. You know what that is? You know what that is? Oh, why do I keep looking over here? You know what that is? You know what that is? That's a singleton, kind of. An instance would never return null in a singleton. The singleton, if it was null, it would just create itself. Anyway, decision profile, evaluate. It's making me a little nervous that the AI is not picking this up, which makes me wonder if I did something wrong. Okay, we're just going to do 1, 1, and then var entity traits equals current NPC entity traits, and then var relationship traits equals, okay, so it did complete that well. Game object, find game with tag player. Okay, so it did. Don't I have a player? This makes me nervous. This find game object with, it makes me nervous. Makes me feel that surely there's another way a better way to do that. But let's just stick with it. Okay, so what this is doing is, I knew you will end up bowing to Master Singleton. All hail the Singleton. Takatua Gigiri says, most Rust crate docs sucks. They think we are Rust wizards and they provide the useful information for newbies. They provide no information. Well, I've been doing this a long time. Here's a little, earlier I gave you some old guy wisdom about, you know, how 90, I think I said 98% of the time you get what you pay for. Here's some other old guy wisdom. Some old computer programmer wisdom. I'll put it that way. Some old computer programmer wisdom. I would say probably 97.5% of documentation online absolutely sucks. Horrible. It's terrible. There's so much awful documentation. There are a couple of exceptions. If you work in C++, there is a GUI library called Qt, or Qt as idiots call it, but I always call it Qt. The Qt documentation, phenomenal. What was the other one? There was another, Oh, there is a JSON library for C++, a very popular JSON library for C++ called NLHOMAN. NLHOMANN.json, something like that. If you just look up NLOHMANN JSON C++, you'll find it. Documentation for that library, very good. Excellent documentation. There is a very, very, very popular C++ framework. If you work in C++, you most likely use this library called Boost, B-O-O-S-T, Boost library. It is one of the most widely used C++ libraries that exists, if not the most widely used C++ library that exists. The documentation is atrocious. It is horrible. It is so bad. It is fucking terrible. The Boost documentation is fucking awful. You can't find anything. There is okay. I want to give an example. There is a Boost file system. This is before C++ had the file system library in the standard. So we're going to look up Boost file system, and I want to see if I can glob folders. Let's look this up. All right, let me see. All right, Boost. And I'm not going to, like, normally I would probably, well, nowadays I would just ask AI, but I'm going to do this like Boost file system glob. All right. All right. Well, first of all, I can't. Oh, let me put C++. Oh, I said boot. Okay, so I can't blame Boost on that. So Boost, C++, Boost file system glob. Okay, Boost libraries, file system reference. Perfect. Just what I need. Oh, okay. Well, there's a lot going on here. Formats, constructors. Ooh, folders. Is there anything? Remove, copy file. Is there? Files. Okay. What about? I'm legitimately trying to find anything that might. Oh, path. Okay. Iterators, path iterators. Okay. Well, how do I just get a list of directories in the folder? Okay. Well, let's go back to the top and see if there's anything there. Okay. Path encoding assignments, pin concatenate. Wait, what am I looking at? Just tell me. Wait, the path iterators. Okay. Path iterate. I don't want to read all of that. Path iterators. Okay. To forward traverse. I'm already discouraged. I already don't want to use this library, and I use this library every day. No, this might not have been the greatest example, but the documentation is fucking. But. Look at. Okay, I'm going to show you something else. Okay, look at this. Look at this format, right? Look at this. This is. I mean, it looks like documentation, right? Okay, Boost Spirit. We're going to do Boost C++ key Spirit documentation. Watch it be the same. No, completely different. Completely different. Oh, let's look at, okay. What's that? Okay, well, never mind. Introduction. Yep, completely different. Completely different. Most documentation online is fucking terrible. It's fucking awful. I don't like to cuss too much, but oh my God, documentation is fucking terrible. I think all system programming language packages suck. I don't know about that. Boost is an incredibly good library, and actually a lot of new C++ features, they begin as Boost features, and so like shared pointers or smart pointers. Smart pointers is a good example of a feature that started out on Boost and then made its way into the standard C++ library. Oh God, help me! Rust crate with zero information is much better than this. Dude, documentation's fucking terrible. Okay, I think what we can do here is, let's see if this even compiles. I did this stream in many ways. I did this stream for Not Sure. And the fact that he isn't even here, I am offended. I'm offended. What is this? I can't really read that. Error, blah, 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 cannot implicitly convert decision result to bool. Okay, it's fair. That's a fair. So if decision profile equals what? I'm assuming AI will figure it out. Equals. Really? Okay, fine. Decision result, obey. Obey. Not obet, obey. All right, let's see now. Sorry, my bad. I wanted to say I think all system programming language packages doc sucks. They do. Dude, just Microsoft. Actually, it depends. It depends. Like Visual Studio Code, which I'm using here, which I think a lot of people use these days. Visual Studio Code is fucking terrible documentation. Awful documentation. There is, and also Visual Studio Code. So I use Visual Studio Code. Like I primarily work on Mac, and I use Visual Studio Code to do C++ programming. There are like 3 or 4 different plugins you have to put into Visual Studio Code in order to be able to do C++ programming in it, or at least be able to run your programs and do step-through debugging and things like that. And it is so counterintuitive and terrible. I like one of the if you do any type of programming, well, maybe not so much with game programming, but if you do any type of application programming, like server programming or even GUI, like you'll do this in GUI programming as well. What it is quite normal in the overall working environment, or when you're doing your job, it is very normal that you will have to pass a command line argument to the executable. And it is very plausible that you will have to do this in debug mode so that you can pass the argument and also be able to do step-through debugging on that argument. And I use this extension of Visual Studio Code. It's like if you're doing C++ programming in Visual Studio Code, this is the extension to use. And they had no way to do that. I had to go edit a fucking JSON file and add a new thing, and like that was the only way to do it. And I asked the authors of this, like, well, are there any plans to add support to this? And I got an answer that was basically like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, what fucking IDE doesn't have a way to specify command line arguments when you're debugging a program? Like, what IDE doesn't just have a button that says command line arguments? Like, every IDE I've used has that built into it day one. But no, not this thing, because it's written by fucking millennials. That's why. Sorry, guys. I know you're probably all millennials. I use Zed. I tried Zed. I didn't like it. It didn't hit 1.0 yet, but I personally think Zed is better than VS Code. I tried Zed, and I was just like, it's basically VS Code. What's the other one I tried? Cursor. I liked Cursor, which is what literally is just VS Code. I think Zed is too. Isn't Zed a fork of VS Code? I thought it was. Is Zed a fork of... not CS Code, VS Code. I'm just going to ask Rock. Is Zed a fork of VS Code? Let's see. I thought it was. I might be wrong. I know Cursor is. No, it's not. Okay, so it's its own distinct code. Okay. All right. Oh, by the creators of Atom. But Atom is kind of, VS Code's kind of a fork of Atom. All right, whatever. Okay, let's get this. Let's do this, and then I got to get out of here. Even though it's still raining. I really don't want to be driving around when it's raining. I don't even like to drive when it's raining at home. When I picked up the rental car, the guy behind the counter, he's like, I recommend that you don't drive at night. And I was like, dude, I don't even drive at night at home. Like, I hate driving at night. Like, that's how old I don't want to drive at night years old. That's how old I am. I don't even want to drive at night. And so the chances that I'm going to be driving at night here in Fiji, yeah, good luck with that. Maybe if I'm like, I don't know. I was going to say maybe if I'm like having a heart attack, but even then I might just be like, all right, I'm done. And I swear to God, I keep having chest pains, but they're like sharp little tings, right? Like ting, ting. But every time I have one, I'm like, is this a heart attack? I'm like convinced that it's a heart attack. And I keep looking up like symptoms of a heart attack. And like symptoms of heart attack are like a big pressure, like a painful pressure that doesn't dissipate after a couple of seconds or a minute. And so I haven't had that, but I'm just convinced that I'm having little mini heart attacks. Zed is now IDE written on Rust. Is the new IDE written on Rust. It's the fastest IDE out there. Maybe I'll give it a shot. I wonder how intuitive C++ programming is in it. I'm sticking with Visual Studio Code for C# and C++, IntelliJ for Java code, for MERN stack, and also code for PowerShell scripting. I tried, what is the C++ IntelliJ? IntelliSense, they have I forget the name of it. It's not Code Blocks. What is it? Oh man, this is going to drive me nuts. I used it for a while and I really liked it, but then I stopped using it. IntelliJ C++ IDE. CLion. Yeah, I used CLion for a little bit. And it wasn't bad, but then it started getting really heavy. And since it itself is written in Java, as a C++ programmer, I have a hard time using any Java program because 9 times out of 10, they're shit. Like they're literally shit. Like Java's good for like microservices, under the hood kind of middle tier stuff. As an IDE, it's shit. I'm sorry. Java IDE programming is absolute shit. Anyway, okay. So are we running? Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. And I still got to call my wife, and then I can finally go out. But it's still pouring. Okay, here we go. Oh, Jesus. Okay, so I'm going to do interact and follow. It should break. I'm curious. I want to step into the evaluate. I want to see this. I want to see this in action. Okay. Wait. What? What happened? Follow. Why didn't it step in? Did I step over by accident? No, I set a breakpoint here. Why is that breakpoint? Okay, there it is. Okay, it should hit. Okay, there we go. All right, so safety. So I just did safety and utility as one, and then we should have all the traits there. So I'm just curious. I want to look at the local variables why this happens. I love that the audio is still playing in the background even though the game is paused. I'm gonna have to clip that comment about Java and make it viral. Good. I will stand by it. I will go to my grave saying how fucking terrible Java is for desktop GUI programming. Awful. Awful. And the irony, maybe this isn't technically irony, but the irony is that I am using an IDE that is written in fucking HTML. Okay, it's a little more than just HTML, but you know what I'm saying. Like this is like Visual Studio Code uses Electron, which is HTML and CSS and JavaScript, and of course it probably has a C++ engine because C++ is everywhere. But who knows? It might be a Rust engine now. I don't know, but there's some like compiled code under there. But that experience is better than any bloated bullshit you're going to get from Java. Oh fuck it! Hey, I hate Java. God, I hate Java. All right, I would rather be a Visual Basic programmer than a Java programmer. That's how much I hate Java. All right, so let's see what we got here. We got adjusted safety, 2 point. Okay, so didn't we pass in 1? How did the safety of this go? Oh, because he's not very courageous. Okay, got it. Total trust. Total trust is 1.99. That's good. VS Code is Chrome itself, so every time we use VS Code, we are using Chrome. Yeah, well, Chrome is just it's the renderer. Emotional bias. So the emotional bias is relationship love minus relationship.fear of. Emotional bias 0.989. So there's not a lot of emotional bias there. The sum, of course. And then threshold, we get 0.90. Which is obey. All right, so he's gonna follow. So he should be following. Yeah, he's following. All right, don't come up my ass, dude. All right, just chill. My wife's calling. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm already over time, and I gotta call my wife. It's getting late there. So let me see. Let me just tell her. Wait, what is this? He pooped on training pad twice. Oh, good. I'm not even gonna. Where did my mouse go? Come on, fuck on. All right, I'm just trying to tell my wife. I'm on stream. We'll call you in a few minutes. All right. She's calling right now on WhatsApp. All right, we'll play around with this some more next time. Actually, I might play with it before then. That didn't sound right, but you know what I'm saying? I'm going to play with it before then. And then I'll finish playing with it and I'll report back to you guys about how it went when I played with it. But thanks for watching. Not sure if you're watching this after the fact. You suck for not being here. And I will most likely be back Friday at 8 p.m., which will be Saturday 11 a.m. for me. But I'll be here, and I hope you are too.